These are the 10 tools that you need to start getting organized in your craft space. Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and organizing your craft space is a big job, and you need the energy, you need the desire, but you also need a few tools to help you get through the process of organizing any sort of creative space. So today we're going to talk about 10 tools that I think you should have ready to go in order to get your space organized. Let's get started. All right, the first thing you need in order to start getting organized would be a trash bag, a trash can, a big one, because you would be shocked at how often you are just going to come across trash, literal trash, paper and scraps and things like that that need to get thrown away, tools that are broken, supplies that are dried out. There is going to be a lot of things that you need to throw away. And in fact, that's one of my biggest hints for getting organized is to start by just eliminating the trash in your space. Extra bags from things you have bought, old packaging, all the different things that no longer work in your craft space, the stickers that are torn, the washi tape that no longer has any stick to it, the dried up paint, the broken pencils, all of those things, get those out first. A trash bag, a big one, is going to help with that. So after you have cleared out all of the trash from your space, what is the next tool you're going to need? That would be a donation bin. I tend to use just a laundry basket to start to collect the things that I know don't belong in the space, that either need to get moved to another room of the house or that need to be donated, which brings me to a question that I get asked all of the time. Where do you donate your supplies that you no longer want? Here's the order I go in. First, I offer them to friends and family, see if they want them, see if someone local would get a use out of it. Then I pack it up and send it to them. I offer it to schools, to teachers, to churches, see if anyone needs it. And then after that, I donate it to a place like Goodwill or Salvation Army. Yes, they repackage it and sell it. And that is fantastic because I know another crafter is going to find a treasure when they are bargain shopping at one of those places. So you're going to need a bin around you to start collecting those things that you are ready to de-stash from your space. We all know de-stashing is a really important element to getting organized. So having a place to put all those things so they don't just end up in a big pile on your floor is going to be really helpful. Rule number 3 of what you are going to need in order to get your craft space organized is a really important step. And that is a way to make a list or keep an inventory of what is in your room. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm just going to use my planner, just a simple lined sheet of notebook paper. I don't mean that you need to take a full detailed inventory of absolutely every supply that you have in your room. If you want to do that, that is fantastic. It's great to know. But what I want you to consider are what categories of things do you have in your room. So as you are starting to remove that trash, de-stash some things that you no longer need, make a list of craft, supply, categories. The different things that you have in your room. This list is going to come in handy later on. So you're going to want to be not overly detailed, but you're going to want to have a pretty thorough list. So for instance, you might start cleaning things out. You might start working in your room and you see, you know what? I have a bunch of yarn. I have 12 by 12 paper. I have planner stickers. I have distress sprays. I have ink pads, and the list goes on and on and on and on of the different categories of things you have. You don't need to break it down unless it's a really large category. So you might say, I have jewelry supplies, and within that you have beads and clasps and string, whatever the case is. You might need to break it down in that case if that's a big category for you. For instance, for my planner stickers, I might write happy planner, hell of a plan, live, love, posh, wrong, things like that. I can break it down like that if I feel like it needs to be broken down. If it's just a broader category, that's fine too. Vinyl. There's just different things that you have as I'm like glancing around my room to see what I have. As you're going through and doing that initial sweep of cleaning and grabbing the things that you know don't belong there anymore, go ahead and start working on this category list because it's going to help you later on in the process. Tool number 4 that you're going to need would be bins that fit your space. Let me show you what I'm talking about. We all have different layouts, different size spaces, different size shelving and bookcases, things like that. So as you get started, you're going to need some bins that are going to work in your space, which is what I did when I was originally organizing this closet. So whether it is closed up bins like this, that still fit nicely on the shelves, take advantage of all of the possible space, or whether you prefer clear bins, see how these stack nicely. And again, taking advantage of the space, they fit well on the shelves. The whole thing works. It's really important to make sure that you have some bins for categorizing purposes. Before you even start filling them up with supplies, you need to know what is going to fit where as far as the bins go. So for instance, I measured these. These are refrigerator bins from Target, and 4 of them fit nicely across within this cabinet, which works so well. So before I even moved all my stamps into these bins, before I did the labels, before I did the sorting, I made sure that I had bins that would fit and work in that space. And it's not just for bookshelves or cabinetry. It can also be for drawers in your desk, things like that, because categorizing and containing your supplies is going to be an important step. You've gotten rid of the trash. You've started to develop your categories. If I just threw all of my extra stamping stuff loose in this drawer, it would be chaos. Containing your supplies is a very, very, very important step. And the start of that is making sure that you have different bins that are going to work for the different areas of your room. Here's another example as someone that knew they had a ton of sticker books. Yes, I do. I sourced these bins from Target, made sure that they fit comfortably on this shelf so that these doors could still close. That was very important. And then I measured to see how many across would fit in this Billy bookcase. So getting the right bins that will fit on your shelves is really important. Not all of the fits have to be perfect. These did because this has doors that close, but I do have larger bins that hang over the edge in other places when it's necessary and when it doesn't bug me that they hang over the edge. Tool number 5 that you are going to need, Post-it notes. Post-it notes are the solution to your organization problems, and they will save you time because you're going to take this handy dandy supply category list that you have been working on, and you're going to add one category to each Post-it note. So I have yarn right here, and then I will add for 12 by 12 paper, stickers, etc., etc. Why do you need all of these Post-it notes? Well, this is going to help you map out where things are going to go in your room without having to do all of the manual labor of moving things around over and over and over and over, because that is what ends up tiring us out as we are going through the organizing process. We move things and adjust things, and then we get confused, and then it's all downhill. You know what I mean? And then you burn out, and it's rough. So use the Post-its to help you figure out where things will go before you start putting them on the actual shelves. Again, let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, so here's how the Post-its come in handy. They help you map out a plan before you actually move things onto the shelves. I'm not going to empty out these shelves, but let me just show you what I'm talking about. So you start with your Post-its and you consider what is on the Post-it, How often do you need it? Where might it fit on your shelf? So you start and you think, ink pads, I use those on a regular basis. We're going to have those be kind of over in this direction. That should be where the ink pads are. Yarn, I don't use a lot, and it needs maybe some more vertical space, and it's not very heavy, so it could go up top. We're going to put yarn in this direction. Distress sprays, what if I had this as like a mixed media place? So maybe my distress sprays are going over here. Stickers, heavy, I'm going to want those down low. That might work there. It makes sense to have stamps with ink pads, and you can kind of figure out where things can go with your Post-its. You can decide very easily and go, you know what, it makes sense to move ink pads near the distress sprays. That would work out really well because then it's like all the wet things, and then stamps should be on the end instead. And it gives you a chance to play and shuffle and start to visualize what that bookcase, what that shelf, what that drawer, whatever the case may be, what it's going to look like. And when you have that in your head and you're like, that's going to work, then you can start loading things into your space. The Post-it notes are kind of vital to help you envision the space ahead of time. That's going to save you energy, and it's going to make sure that you have a plan as opposed to just starting to stick things on shelves wherever they happen to fit. Tool number 6 that you need to get your space organized would be a label maker. So I have what I would call a fancy one. This is a P-Touch Embellish. It is great for crafting purposes because it has lots of different tapes. You can print on ribbon. It's fantastic. You don't need a fancy one. You just need some sort of label maker, some sort of way to start labeling the things in your craft room. Label your bins. The more labels you have, the easier it will be to remember where things are supposed to go. I use labels all over my craft room to help me organize where different items should go. It also helps others that may want to help me clean up know where things should go. I label everything from different collections, different stamping categories, different sticker categories, labeling the bins that things belong in. Labeling is a key to staying organized and to make sure that everything actually does have its place. The labels don't have to be flashy. You can see I kind of tuck these away within my Alex drawers, but it saves me time when I'm trying to get things cleaned up, and we have a lot of different categories. We have a lot of different things in our craft room. All of them need a space, and when you're cleaning up in a flurry, it's nice to have the labels to know where things should be going. Tool number 7 that you need in order to get your craft space organized is a timer. So if you are a parent or you have ever worked with kids, you have probably used this trick before. You set a timer for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you've challenged them to see how much can we get done before the timer goes off. Or you've encouraged them by saying, you know what, we're going to stop our game and we're going to clean up for the next 10 minutes. When the timer goes off, we are going to move on to our next activity. You can do the same thing to encourage yourself as you are organizing. Set a timer, set a goal each day for the amount of time you're going to do in small chunks, and you'll be surprised at how quickly that adds up. 15 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day over the course of a few days a week over several weeks really starts to add up, and you'll see some great progress. Plus, it is so much less daunting to think I'm only going to organize for 20 minutes and then I'm going to go on with my day and do the things I want to do. Then think I have to go down and organize my entire craft space. It's out of control. This is going to be an overwhelming project. Whatever the case may be, set that timer. I just use my phone or my Echo Dot and put on some music, set a timer, go at it. And then when the timer is done, I'm done and I move on to some fun, creative activities. So a timer is a fabulous tool to help yourself make some progress. All right, another tool to help you on your path to getting your space organized, cleaning supplies. For me, that means a Swiffer duster. I don't know about you, I'm not great at actually doing the cleaning part of my craft room. I can put things away with the best of them, but when it comes to dusting, wiping things down, that doesn't happen very often because I'm in a flurry. When I'm down here, I want to be creating. So when I'm in organization mode, that's the opportunity that I take to do some actual cleaning, do some sweeping, because when you're organizing, you're moving things out of their normal spaces, and you're going to be able to get to spaces that maybe you don't normally get to or see. There's going to be some serious dust. There's going to be some spills. Pull out your cleaning supplies, clean as you go, and you will thank yourself. Your future self will thank you, because the space will be cleaner. It'll feel better. It'll be brighter. It's just wonderful to take a little bit of time to do the actual act of cleaning. I can't say I get to it very often, but when it's time to dust and organize, then it feels good to get it all done at once. All right, the next thing I say might be a little bit controversial, but here it is. I don't like junk drawers. I don't like the concept of junk drawers. I don't like the idea that things just get lost in some big dark drawer and it holds all of the different things that you're going to need every day in your life, but it's not organized in any way. I am not here for that. And especially in a craft room, there are supplies that we do need on hand, and we may end up with something that looks like a junk drawer, but it's not really going to serve us. Here is a tool that I have used to help keep me organized with all of those bits and bobs. And I'm a big fan, and I feel like everyone should have one on their desk. That would be this. This is a catch-all tray. This is a random tray that I picked up from, oh geez, I feel like this was from Home Goods at some point, and it is my catch-all tray. It is holding all of the supplies that I use on a regular basis. We have scissors, we have pens and pencils and adhesive remover, whiteout, some different tools that I quite literally use on a daily basis for different things in this craft room. And it all fits on this tray. It's not cluttering up my desk with a bunch of little things spread all over the place. This tray just sits on the side and works really well for me. Why do I prefer a tray as opposed to a drawer? First of all, it's contained. It's a limited amount of space. When it starts overflowing, then I know I need to clean it out. So contain, contain, contain. And I can see everything. It's right here. I'm not having to open and close a drawer to look for things 14 times during a craft session. All of my basics are going to be right here. So a catch-all tray, I think, is pretty darn vital to a craft room or a craft space. You want it to be within arm's length. You want touch access to it. And this one has worked really well for me. All right, that brings us to the end of our list, the last things that you are going to need in order to get your craft room organized. And those are things that you have in you. That would be patience and persistence. Be patient with yourself. Organizing a creative space, truthfully organizing any space, takes a lot of energy. It takes mental energy as you're sorting through, as you're letting things go. Some things we are emotionally attached to, and that can feel very draining to let go, to sort through those things. And then oftentimes it's physically difficult. You are moving things around the room, you're hauling trash out. It can be a tiring process. So be patient with yourself. Use that timer rule, give yourself little spurts of time, and then give yourself grace, because some of us have huge projects of organization that we need to get done. Some of us have little. It's going to take a different amount of time for each of us. Give yourself the time and the energy and the patience that you're going to need. And then my other hint is to be, or my other tip is to be persistent. Organization is a journey, much less so a destination. You're not going to suddenly wake up and think, I'm perfectly organized. It takes time. And even when you have fabulous systems in place, they're going to take maintenance and updating over time as well. So be persistent in your organization. Don't give up just because you're frustrated, just because it feels like it's taking too long. Give yourself, again, the time and the energy to get it done. Be persistent, and it's going to pay off. It feels fabulous to work in an organized space. It feels inspiring to walk into an organized craft room. So if you gather up those tools and just get started, I promise you'll see some progress and you'll start to feel a little bit of success. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found this video helpful. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. I want to give a huge shout out to all of my Patreon members. Thank you all so much for your continued support. If you want to join us over on Patreon, there is a tier for everybody, including a free tier that also has some awesome perks. You can click the link below, patreon.com/ScrappyWife, and we'd love to have you. All right. I hope that all of you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.